Hey guys, welcome back to Robert's Homestead and How-Tos, and we have finally got a break in the rain. And it is sunny out right now and it's getting ready to get really hot, so I figured today would be a perfect day to clean our HVAC units, and because we're going to need that cold air. So I'm going to show you how to do that. The first thing that you're going to need, and you can get this item at Menards, Home Depot, Lowe's, Amazon, wherever, but you're going to need some type of spray-on foam cleaner, and I'll link several of the links in the description below. You're also going to need a few other tools, but we'll walk up here right now and I'll show you exactly what you'll need to get this done in just a few minutes. Okay, so here we are at the unit, and it doesn't matter what size unit that you're working on. This technique applies for any. All right, so here we are at the unit, and it doesn't matter what size unit that you're working on. This technique works for any of them. But here's what you're going to need. In addition to the spray cleaner, you're definitely going to want to have some safety goggles, safety glasses. You do not want this stuff accidentally splashing back up into your eyes. And you're also going to need a 1/4 inch screwdriver bit. And you can also use an impact driver. Now guys, I will highly recommend, if you're going to use an impact driver, only use this to remove these tiny screws. Do not use the impact driver to reinstall the screws, because you risk stripping them, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, screwdriver, impact driver, glasses, and spray foam. Now the first things first, before you start working on this, a lot of people will just shut the unit off inside the house, but if you've got little kids, or if your wife doesn't know you're out here working on it, or whatever the case may be, it's always better to be safe than sorry when you're working on these. Now, every unit should have some type of disconnect down here. Now, we had this unit reinstalled, or this new unit installed, not that long ago. This is what the old disconnects look like. It's a little handle right there, and you would just simply pull that out. Pulling that out disconnects the power and shuts it off. Now, some people will show you a technique where you can just flip it upside down, put it back in there to keep it out of the way. To me, that's still a little risky. Better safe than sorry. Put the thing up there. You also want to close those doors back before you start, because you're going to be spraying cleaner. You're also most likely going to be spraying water. You don't want that to get into any of your electronic stuff. So the one that we have now, due to codes, looks more like this, like your breaker panel. So we're just going to shut the power off, close the door, and now we're ready to get started to clean. Now, before we jump into actually cleaning this unit, I want to go over a couple different ways that you can do that. One, the super quick, the super easy way is to not worry about the screws, to not worry about these panels. You just take this spray and you spray it on the coils through the panels. Now, that's going to do okay. It's not going to do great, because you're not going to get everything. Plus, you can see a lot of these vent slots here are at an angle, so the spray is not going to get thoroughly on those coils. And it's always good to have a helper when you're doing this. So I'm not a fan of that, but if you just want to do the quick and dirty way, that's one way of doing it. You can just spray the stuff on there. Also, a lot of people I've seen will just spray this foam on the coil itself and just leave it, let it do its job, and they don't worry about spraying it off. I'm not a fan of that. We're going to spray it off at the end, but we'll get to that in a minute. So that's one way, just spraying it like it is, letting it dry, or spraying it and washing it off with a water hose. However, depending upon your unit, you may have one set of coils, or you could have two sets of coils. So you're not sure whether you have one set of coils or two sets of coils. If you have two sets of coils and you're just spraying on the outside, you're probably not going to get thorough cleaning on both the inside, or on the outside and the inside coils. So the only way that you know, or the only way to really check that, is to take this lid off. But regardless if you have one or two sets of coils, I'm going to take it off anyway. That way I can remove these panels and get better access to those coils, so that we can get a more thorough cleaning. So let's get started. right, now step 2, after you get the screws undone, you're going to want to lift this off. Now this sometimes needs to be a 2-person job because there's going to be wiring, there's going to be cabling that's connected, and depending upon how this was installed, if there's a lot of slack, you may be able to lift this off and set it down somewhere, or if you got somewhere to put it up to the side. If not, you may just have to leave it where it is and lift this up just enough to remove these panels. I've never done this unit before. I did my smaller unit earlier and there was no slack in the cabling, so I had to just remove these one at a time. So we'll see. Alright, so I have like 0 slack in my electrical wiring, so I'm not going to be able to take this off. I could disconnect it if I wanted to, but I really don't want to fool with that. So I'm just going to do this very gently, very easily. Alright, so we got to remove these down here as well. This one's a taller unit. The shorter unit didn't have these additional screws. Alright, another thing too, when you're working with this stuff, you want to be very careful when you're working with any type of metal like this. A lot of times you can have sharp ends. You also want to be very careful with touching these coils. They are very fragile, but they're also very sharp. You don't want to bend them, because if you're going to bend them, that's going to impede the air intake, and that's going to defeat the purpose of the whole cleaning process. Just be very careful as you're removing these corner pieces on this unit anyway. Yours may be different. In order to remove them, you got to drop them all the way down, and that allows that notch. It's got a little notch right there. There's another reason you want to be careful. There's always wasp nests, dirt daubers, all that kind of stuff. And there's a bigger one down there. Hopefully there's nothing in here. Okay, so now that we have those panels removed, we have access to the coils. Now this unit only has a single coil. It does not have an outside and an inside coil, so it's going to be much easier to clean. But you can see there's all kinds of dirt and debris stuck in these coils, and if you look down here, see the damage here? That was most likely done when they installed this unit or when it was shipped, and there's a lot of damage right here. I mean, it doesn't take hardly any disruption of those coils to impede airflow. So yeah, not good. But we're going to get it cleaned up, so it's going to work as best as we can possibly get it to work. You also want to take time, once we're done cleaning this, to spray out all that debris. And if we look on the inside here, you can see down in there, you've got holes in that bottom pan that allows drainage. You want to make sure that you don't have leaves or debris clogging up those holes. So we're going to spray those down here in just a moment when we're done. So again, with this spray, you want to stand back a little bit as you're applying it. You also, again, you want to wear these goggles, because if this stuff gets back in your eye, it's not good. So give it a little squirt. So go side to side, and you want to get right parallel with the coils. You can see that stuff is just flying around. You do not want to be inhaling that or getting that in your eyes. Just coat that on there really nice and thick. Let it sit and do its job. This can's about to run out. I think that one's pretty much empty, thank wood. And that's pretty much it, guys. You just spray that on there, let it set for a few minutes. Again, some people just call that a day, but I prefer to spray it off. So let me go get the hose, we'll spray it off. All right, so when it comes time to rinse it off, I like to use the shower setting. It just seems to do the best. Again, you want to make sure that you're still wearing your goggles, your safety glasses while you're doing this. You do not want that splashback. All right, so once you get that sprayed off, then you can switch it over to your jet, your full, whatever, and really get that debris out. And again, we want to spray the inside so that we get all those leaves and dirt and debris out of the inside as well, so it's not clogging up the system. All right, once you have it sprayed off, now it's time to reinstall the panels. And just a reminder, when it's time to put these screws back in, use a manual screwdriver. Do not use any type of power tool for that. Now, lining these holes up is always going to be the challenge. Sometimes they line up perfectly, sometimes they don't. But don't force it. It may just take some finagling to get it where it needs to be. So there you have it. Very quick, easy, and cheap way to clean these coils to ensure that you're getting cold air pumping through your house. So the only last thing to do now that we have everything back on is to flip this breaker back on, and we should be good to go. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.